So last year, a game that really caught my eye was Scarlet Nexus. Now, just looking at the trailer they showed, you can definitely tell it's a Bandai Namco game, really heavily anime-inspired, cel-shaded graphics, but it looked really cool. You know, the combat looked interesting, the monsters looked really bonkers, and I really, was kind of looking forward to it. Well, if you have an Xbox, the demo has dropped. However, as of recording this video anyway, the demo has only dropped in New Zealand. But all you have to do is go under settings, switch your location to New Zealand, download it, switch it back to wherever your location is, and you're done. So that being said, I did download the demo and I checked it out, and so without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the Scarlet Nexus demo. So in Scarlet Nexus, you actually have your choice of two characters. One of them is much more close range, melee focused, while the other one's more of a long range character. Although I say long range character, she definitely still is more melee feeling. There's just a little bit more of a gap between you and the enemies. That said, besides the inherent kind of difference of, being up close with a samurai sword and shooting blades at a distance, I will say that the characters both play way differently because of their team compositions. Their teams are what give you these crazy powers, but that is going to come up just a little bit later in the video. So in the world of Scarlet Nexus, you have a whole bunch of powers and abilities. All the characters are basically their own different kind of Esper, and that's really going to make a huge difference in the gameplay style. But let's start off with the main character. Now, I did say earlier that the male and female characters are both kind of inherently different, with one being more close range, one being more long range, but on paper, their abilities are the same. Basically, you are a psychic in the sense of what you think of when you think of, like, levitation and can you bend the spoon? And that is, while you're doing your regular melee combat, you can lift things with your mind and smash them into enemies. You can do this in many different ways. You can actually do slashes while comboing the psychic attack. You can basically launch the psychic attack as a combo itself and then fly at them and teleport, kind of dash slash situation to close the gap. It's really quite cool. It reminds me a lot of a maybe a Platinum Games game or some classic Devil May Cry. Bandai Namco went all out with this one, and you can really tell because the combat feels really good. Besides, like, throwing just random items at enemies, though, there are some other items that kind of have special animations. Those are scattered all throughout the different stages, but rather than press the right trigger or the, whatever that's going to be on different consoles, you use the left trigger, for Xbox anyway, and that activates kind of a sort of animation where you can do different things. Some things you can collide into monsters, some things you can use to smash open armor, some things kind of make an area of effect. It's all very random and very cool. Makes you really want to explore the levels, and like I said, it makes the combat like never feel dull. As far as both characters' stories are concerned, they're very similar, but like with slight differences. And when I say very similar, I mean like the lines they use are basically identical.
You don't have to be so formal. We call each other by our first names in the OSF so we can strengthen our bonds.
Oh, Naomi, we call each other by our first names in the OSF. Don't be so formal.
Can you hear me? I'm able to communicate telepathically within a 500-kilometer radius without the system's assistance.
My power allows me to communicate telepathically without the system's assistance, up to around 500 kilometers.
Where they differ, though, is the male character has kind of been handpicked and selected for, like, the best squad. So later on in the level, when all the cameras start coming out, all eyes are on him, focusing on kind of the job he did and how he's kind of some sort of prodigy. And you can really tell that he doesn't really want the spotlight, but that's going to be a big deal for his character because apparently just out the gate, he's really good. He's been picked by the best, so all eyes are on him. The female character, however, was kind of put in like B squad, but not because she wasn't good or anything. She actually has a bit of notoriety herself. Apparently, in the past, she had gone and like saved a whole bunch of civilians on her own before joining the force. So it's actually recognized by the cameras later on, and they put eyes on her, and it kind of makes some of her teammates jealous. So I can kind of see the dynamic there, inter-group dynamic, is going to be pretty intense using that character. And yes, I did say cameras because apparently the media, just like in the real world, likes to flock and film everything these guys are doing. So when these guys are out there fighting these monsters, I guess occasionally you're going to have these cameras come in, watch everything, broadcast it. Who knows how that's going to align with the plot. It does seem kind of interesting because it really does mirror like our 24-hour news cycle world now. But it is kind of cool because it's kind of used in the demo anyway as a plot device to show really the difference between the two characters. But I can see in the main story it's definitely going to get expanded upon. Back to the gameplay though. Oh my god, alright, that's where this demo is freaking awesome. And that's why I'm so excited to play this game. Like I said, spoiler, I personally think I'm going to get this game right when it comes out, mainly based on my experience playing this demo. Anyway, basically on your team you have 4 different powers that you can kind of imbue yourself with from your teammates. And when you're playing as the male character, you actually have an elemental ability to get fire on your sword, dealing fire damage, which hurts specific enemies extra because they would have a weakness to fire. Another ability that you get with the male character is like, it's like a teleport power. It turns your dodge dash into a teleport, which is cool for certain secret areas. You can actually teleport through like maybe a gate or a fence and get to the other side. But also in combat, it basically teleports you straight to the enemy. I'm getting major Devil May Cry Virgil vibes with that one. The other 2 abilities that this character has, though, is this ability to see invisible enemies, which is very useful because some of these enemies later on in the level do go invisible and they will just wreck you if you can't see them. And then last but not least is this ability. It's a very short-lasting ability, but it basically strengthens your whole body to make you tank attacks. And in the demo, they kind of show this off against this kind of mini-boss that if you don't tank its attack, you will take heavy damage. So it's kind of cool, you use the ability, tank the attack, and then you can strike back while it is kind of stunned after, cooling down after using such a move. So I don't know if you're going to be getting more characters in the game to kind of swap these out, but currently, even if it was just these 4 abilities, I mean, like, it is huge as far as it just feels like there's so much stuff to do with this character. The female character does not get the short end of the stick. I mean, so for her, you get the ability to imbue your element with lightning because the enemies she fights are water-based. So that kind of leads me to believe that in the actual game itself, there's going to be more friends to switch out because there's no way they're going to stick it with just fire and lightning. And also, I feel like there's no way they're going to stick it with just those characters. But, just speculation. Besides that, though, she has an invisibility ability, which is actually really good for her level. Of course, they illustrate this by having these crazy kind of like gun turret style enemies that when you get too close, they box themselves up in this impenetrable defense. So, how do you stop that? Turn invisible, knock them over, and then beat the hell out of them. Other powers she has is a move called duplication, where every time you use a psychic attack by picking something up, it actually duplicates it, so when you hit them twice. And if you level up a little bit and pick your abilities wisely, you can actually do a move that lets you pick up 3 times in a row. So with the duplicate ability, it is 6 times in a row, which is massive damage. Last but not least, another ability she has is this hyper velocity. Basically, think, bullet time. You slow everything down and can just wreck enemies, which, once again, is illustrated in her level by fighting these really quick flying enemies that if you don't have the hyper velocity engaged, the chances of you hitting them are pretty much nil. And of course, it wouldn't be an action RPG without a sort of leveling up mechanic, and this game's pretty cool. I mean, you level up, of course, but also you have skill points to allocate to a tree. Every time I see a skill tree like this, the kind of web-style skill tree, I think of, the easy comparison is Final Fantasy X, but I mean, a ton of games do it. It's just the first one I remember doing it, so that's why I'm always going to say that. But once again, you can level up, general perks like just be stronger, have more health. But you can also give yourself new moves, all sorts of stuff. So, I can't wait for the actual game itself, once again, because I know you're going to really get to dive deep into this thing. I don't know if it's going to be one of those games where you need to kind of dedicate your points to make an actual build, or if you can just eventually level up everything. I'm very interested to see that. But also, throughout this demo, you have been able to go through and pick up items. And, so it looks like you can get new weapons and stuff in the future, but also some cosmetic stuff. So I'm always a fan of cosmetic stuff. This game actually, the more I've been playing it, reminds me a lot of Astral Chain. And Astral Chain had the same thing. Really cool combat system, really nice anime cel-shaded kind of graphics, and really weird, completely optional cosmetics. So I think that might be why I like it so much. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think if you played Astral Chain, because I can feel some huge comparisons between the two. Besides the extra moves you get from the skill tree, they also just have straight up finishers. You know, if you do enough damage to someone, you can either summon in an ally to kind of do a finishing hit, or at least do some huge damage to it, or you yourself can use a psychic finisher to just one-hit the enemy, giving you like way more experience and currencies and drops and etc, etc. Like I said, there is no shortage of cool stuff you can do combat-wise in this game, and I think that's something that's going to make people want to stick around and keep playing it. The last thing I want to talk about is the boss. The boss for both characters is the same enemy, although they kind of make the weaknesses a little bit different, so you can kind of get the feel for both characters. But it's kind of this big monster thing with a cannon on its back. When you're playing as the male character, they kind of say he is wrapped in plants, so you use the fire ability to catch him on fire, which stuns him, and then you can drop down like huge girders and beams off the construction site onto him, and you know, kind of go from there, do heavy damage. It's pretty cool. The female version, the cannon on the back is full of water, so when you break it by dropping something big on him, then all of a sudden he's really wet, so when you use your electric powers, then he gets shocked really bad. So it's really cool how they've integrated these character-specific abilities into the boss fights, especially because, like I said, they're both kind of the same boss, but they've tweaked it to make it where you're kind of utilizing the character's strengths against them. So, you know, this first boss is you know, just a step into the game. So the fact that it's so big and crazy and the attacks are so varied for, you know, basically a level 1 boss gives me a lot of hope for what this game's gonna have. But anyway, you know, let me know what you guys think down below. This game is something that I was really on the fence about. You know, I was really interested rather, and now that I've got to play it for myself, I'm pretty much think I'm going to be dipping into this on day 1. So, you know, like I said, I was very interested when I saw the original footage of the game, and now that I've played it, I'm very interested. You know, I was really glad they released the demo because I was, you know, very on the fence on is this something I was going to get or not. But, you know, I think this really solidified my personal want to get this game. I do love, obviously, a Devil May Cry style action game, but I'm a huge fan when there's so many ways to do combat that you don't get bored. I mean, like, you know, you play the original Devil May Cry 1 compared to, like, Devil May Cry 5, and just, like, the amount of combos is so much less, so you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. In a game like this, I feel like there's just so much possibility you won't get bored. But hey, what do you guys think? Have you downloaded the demo? You know, like I said, when I recorded this, the demo is only available that kind of weird way going with the New Zealand and back, so it may be available now, so check it out. If not, getting it, it's extremely easy. But let me know if you've played it down below and what your thoughts of Scarlet Nexus are. That's gonna do it for us today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. It'd be, like, very cool. You know, like I said, tell me what you guys think about Scarlet Nexus, because that thing, it's fun as heck, but that's just me. But hey, as always, take it easy.